Hello, everyone. Thank you for being so early. We're retweeting the room right now and making sure that we get our speaker Tommy up, and we will start in just a moment.
Awesome. Hey, Goparel, what's up? No rug today.
You're on a streak, Tommy. Don't don't test your luck.
It's so far I've been successful joining these without a problem by not having my phone plugged in when I join. It's been 100%. So I'm gonna keep doing it like this, the way it goes.
I think that's a solid plan. I hope it keeps working out that way. I know I rugged one time, and I'm so nervous it's going to happen again.
No, we'll be good. There's nothing wrong with Twitter anymore, right? Twitter nowadays is great.
I had to mute my mic after that. That was pretty funny.
It's definitely been an interesting couple of weeks here. I'm excited to talk to you today about talking about new people too. So it's be a really fun one.
I think so too, especially in the height of the space and what the NFT space and crypto space has gone through recently. A space like this is going to be a breath of fresh air, I believe. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So good morning and good afternoon, Wax fam. It's another fantastic Wax Wednesday. Today is a special space where we're going to be focusing on the importance of onboarding and educating new users. And that means that it's Newbie Week. I'm Schnazzy, the community manager of the Wax blockchain. And as always, I'm joined by the legendary Tommy, who is the operations manager of the Wax blockchain. This call is really meant to celebrate all of the new users who's come on board and is trying to learn more about what it is to mean to start collecting, creating, and understanding NFTs and what we're building over here on Wax. So if you are one of those new users, please make sure that you have your pen and paper ready because this is going to be a very informative call. So if you want to take notes, you'll have that kind of stuff ready before we get started. We'll probably really get into all of the actual information in about a minute. So the way that this is going to go down today is that I'm going to pose general interview questions really towards Tommy, and he's going to educate us on what the blockchain is, what wax is, what the general vocabulary really is to help in the NFT search and creation process, what amazing tools we have available for creators, and the different types of wallets you can utilize to really get started in the wax ecosystem. And then afterward, we'll open up the space to anyone who might have extra questions or really want to know about how to get started creating or collecting. And we'll also open it up to the audience too, if anybody wants to talk about their own experience that they've had with Wax or why they chose Wax as the blockchain that they make on. All right, Tommy, are you ready for these questions?
Yeah, let's why don't we start with like kind of a basic like what is Wax, you know? Let me just waffle on that for a minute. So Wax blockchain stands for Worldwide Asset Exchange. It's founded by Will Quigley and Johnny Antis a few years ago as a way to own your own items and not have to worry about being able to do whatever you want with them, right? You can transmit or transfer digital assets quickly across borders without having to pay fees and stuff like that. So we are a proof of stake blockchain. We are a layer 1 blockchain. And it's more than just a basic straight proof of stake. We are a delegated proof of stake. So we have a schedule where our top 21 block producers, we call them guilds here, will produce and write blocks. And we'll get a little bit more into this aspect of it a little bit later, but by scheduling when you're writing blocks, there's no race to be the first to write, which is what kind of causes a lot of the energy waste with a proof of work system.
Thank you for explaining that. I know a lot of people are really not informed when it comes to the difference between proof of stake and proof of work. And the way that Wax does proof of stake is actually different than how other people have seemed to use the proof of stake blockchain flow. So will you talk to us a little bit about what kind of ways that we're staking in the Wax blockchain to be able to utilize its resources?
Yeah, totally. So the main differences here, like when you see people coming over maybe from using Ethereum, because it's very popular, before they moved over to proof of stake. With Ethereum, I think even still now, with Ethereum, when you want a transaction to be processed, you still need to pay a fee, right, for every transaction that you're processing. Now on Wax, we don't have you pay a fee per transaction. If you want to use the blockchain, you can do so. What we do require is that you have resources on your account in order to transmit these transactions to the blockchain. And it's real simple. There's only 3 of them that you need to worry about. And 2 of those resources you can use over and over and over again every 24 hours. They'll regenerate. So before I break into this, I'm probably going to use like a reference kind of like maybe an airport, as I know that this is the one I kind of fall back on because it's an older write-up on a blog that kind of helped me understand what's going on. So what we're doing here on blockchain, so what you'll stake WaxP tokens, which is the utility token and the native token of our chain. You'll stake these tokens to your account in one of 3 resources. The resources are called CPU, net, and RAM. And this can sometimes be confusing to someone who's new to a blockchain, because when you say, oh, you're getting a CPU error, or oh, you don't have enough RAM, I would immediately think to go check my computer specs. Like, oh, what kind of computer do I need to even transact on this blockchain, right? So that's not the case. We look at the, let me take CPU first. Like CPU is kind of covers the cost of the transaction. Where you would be paying maybe a small fee every time you wanted something done, what you're going to be doing is you'll be paying in a CPU cost, which is determined by how much WaxP you have staked in your account to that resource. You'll use, and that is that same WaxP that you have staked. You can use it again to send your transactions, right? So CPU and net kind of go hand in hand in order to make your transactions work. I won't talk as much about net because you won't need as much of it. You can stake a small amount of net versus your CPU. For those who are just starting out and wondering how much to put in CPU versus net, I would usually put like a 10-to-1 to start. 10 WaxP in CPU, or rather 10 WaxP in CPU, 1 in net, and go from there. When you start with a spread like that, you're going to you'll likely need to add more CPU before long, but you're probably going to be unlikely that you need to add a lot more net or stake more net in the future. Net's not as in-demand resource as CPU. Now that's CPU and net, right? Both of those resources will regenerate, so you can use them over and over again as long as your WaxP tokens are staked. The other resource is called RAM. Now, RAM is consumable, and it does not regenerate. So when you purchase RAM for your account, you'll be doing that in order to save the state of your account on the blockchain. If you're minting NFTs through like Atomic Assets, which is one of our asset standards here, you'll be paying RAM for each NFT you mint as well. For the primary purpose, for people who are just playing games and stuff like that, your RAM is going to be consumed saving your game states, a small amount to cover storage of NFTs, but it's mostly used for just saving your account and saving the status of your account throughout the chain. And one thing I didn't mention, this is a big deal too. You stake the CPU and net because you're using the blockchain, right? You can get that back. You don't. That's not gone. I know that I said it regenerates every day, and I'm not even talking about that. I mean, like, if you're done and you don't need to use as much CPU, maybe the game you like, you're not interested in it anymore. You've sold your NFTs off. You moved on to a new game, and it's a once a day or once a week type game. You're not transacting every hour. You'll use less CPU. You can unstake those WaxP tokens and use them for something else. You can use them to buy RAM. You can use them to stake to net if you were to need that. You can use them to buy NFTs, right? So it's not like you're going to pay a fee, hope your transaction gets through, and then that's gone.
I love that. Thank you, Tommy, for explaining that you can unstake from those different resources. I think what's also interesting that I know it's hard to talk about like how many transactions can something like CPU host with one wax worth of staking. But do you know like a general idea of what the cost per WaxP to transactions is?
So with everyone doing transactions at once, there can be sometime you'll run into blockchain congestion, and the more transactions that are happening at a specific time can cause the cost per transaction in CPU to go up. That would be the main thing that was going to affect like how much CPU you're going to be using on a day-to-day basis. Now, some contracts or actions might they're trying to say here, they may consume more CPU than others, and this could be because there's a giant contract. Maybe the contract is not written as efficiently as it could be, so it's using extra CPU when it's looking up at table data, for example. So those types of things.
Thank you. Yeah, I've experienced a lot of times if you're just buying NFTs that are like your indie artist friends NFTs, a lot of times you can get a couple different transactions out of just having that same 5 wax stored or the same 10 wax stored. And it really, the 10 wax goes a lot further than you would think about. Whenever you come from a blockchain like Ethereum, for example, and have to pay gas fees, the amount of transactions goes way, way further per staked resources versus paying gas fees. This is really interesting. I know we're going to get touching into that a little bit more in the future as well. But another thing that I think is really cool about this type of resource mechanic where it's like pay before you use, is that it makes things a lot more energy efficient than other people expect from blockchains in general. Right. And Wax is even certified carbon neutral, but a lot of times we find ourselves using Wax in a carbon negative manner. Would you mind going over what gives Wax that status?
Yeah, so I believe it was last year around, you have to call me out for if I'm accurate or not, but last year around April, because I remember talking about it during Earth Day, we started a carbon offset NFTs where you could buy an NFT and burn the NFT. And by burning that NFT, it would cause trees to be planted in the Pacific Northwest. We had partnered with, I believe it was American Forest Foundation, to help plant trees in the Pacific Northwest for every dollar burned, I would say. Depending on which NFTs you got from that collection, it'll burn, you could plant a whole bunch of trees. So when we were looking for something that we could try to partner with and try to make it more environmentally conscious, That's how we decided to do it. We partnered with that foundation and helped them get a bunch of trees planted to help ourselves be net negative. This is and I think, but just by the nature of going proof of stake, it just makes it easier. So we don't have as large of a hill to get over in order to become neutral or negative on carbon use. Because it's a smaller hill, it's easier to become carbon neutral, carbon negative, because we're not being as wasteful in the first place. And that's not even factoring in like costs that can be saved through e-commerce shipping by viral NFTs, which we can talk about a little bit later.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to talk about the viral NFTs. I wanted to also mention that a lot of the marketplaces are trying to take matters into their own hand too, and trying to get that net carbon negative score, which is really cool. I know Atomic Hub actually just introduced the carbon credits, which is really awesome, and I think that we'll start seeing other marketplaces kind of follow in suit as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think like I don't know. Well, I understand. Like there was a whole bunch of FUD. And it was the anti-NFT community trying to push FUD about destroying the world and how we were going to ruin everything. Sometimes these folks didn't want to take 2 seconds to maybe educate and see how blockchain could be a source for good. People are just hearing it and just being upset. So this is something that we've been working towards for a long time, and we're excited to have others kind of follow suit as well and follow the lead. I think it's important, not just for blockchain companies, but as like for all of us to try to be as carbon conscious as possible as we go forward.
And I think it's so important. I mean, especially if you're talking about long-term sustainability, you have to have something that is ecologically sustainable. And I think that's what I love about Wax and why I came to Wax, is that it was conscious of how to be sustainable from the beginning. And, you know, we're having this space, and it's about onboarding newcomers. I know that it is a tech space, so there are so many different words that a lot of people might not understand, especially whenever they get into the creation of NFTs. So I'll pick your brain a little bit about what some of these words are and how we can explain them the easiest.
Of course. Now, don't be too mad if I turn these back on you, because I think everyone here will tell that you're the number one creator between the two of us.
Yes, but this is me interviewing you. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I know one thing I wanted to mention that's not really about the description of this terminology that you'll hear us talk about, but I really would like to just point out that if you're a creator and you want to get started creating on the Wax blockchain in particular, whenever you mint an NFT for the first time, it'll actually show up on all marketplaces, so you don't have to list them individually on those marketplaces. And a lot of these descriptions that we're going to be giving you are going to be about what happens on those marketplaces, what this terminology is. But I think it's really important to know that if you are an artist and you're trying to sell a painting, for example, you don't have to list that painting on eBay and on Etsy and like all these other different marketplaces, because if you list it one time and you have it minted, it shows up in your collection across all marketplaces. And I think that's something that's really neat about blockchain, is that it really helps streamline the process of creating something really cool. So with that being said, Tommy, tell us what a schema is.
Oh, a schema. Okay, so you're gonna have, so when you create an NFT on the blockchain, you're gonna have a couple different terminologies, right? So you're gonna create a collection. This is the overarching name of what all of your NFTs are going to live under. So you would probably want to name your collection. If you're making like a really badass game, like if I were going to make a really cool game, I'd name it the Forge Arena, and I would call all my collection the Forge Arena collection. And then, so that's your collection. You'll start that once, you'll set that up once, and then you'll have schemas. These are subcategorized small collections within a collection. So a schema could possibly be, hey, I'm going to be selling packs of gun skins, right? I'll continue this this example because it's the one I'm most familiar with. I'm going to sell packs of gun skins. So I'm going to make a pack schema. And this schema will have all the attributes for any pack I want to make. So all I have to do then is so all of the packs are going to need to have an unboxed site. They're going to all need to have a name. They're all going to need to have a picture. So you'll set each NFT metadata variable when you're setting up the schema. Next, from schemas are templates. So under a schema such as packs, you could have templates like the spring pack or the winter pack. They're all packs. They all have the same metadata types, I want to say. However, when you go to mint it, the actual data itself, the images, the names, all of that you add in will be different, but you're going to use the same schema. So instead of having to redo everything from the beginning on your pack, and every time you want to sell a new pack, you have to start from the beginning, you can just make a new template that's already going to have all these things that it's expecting from you. It's going to expect an image. It's going to expect an unboxing site. It's going to expect like a Twitter. Maybe you want to put Twitter on all your packs so they can follow you on Twitter. It's going to expect that. So you don't have to add it in every time. And then you get packs that might be missing something. God forbid you forget to put the unbox link on your pack because you didn't put it on your schema. And now that you don't know, you have to give special extra instructions on where to go to even unlock the packs. Right? So once you've done all that, and I know it sounds complicated, but there are more than one easy to follow creation guide. And I can send you some if you reach out to me. I know Snazzy has her own probably too. But once you've done all that, you can quickly mint the NFTs from those that might be missing something, or from the templates, I should say. And then, hey, if maybe you don't want to sell packs anymore, you want to do something else, you want to have like an artwork giveaway. Well, you just make a schema for artwork, and then you just set your templates for artwork, and you don't have to redo the collection from the beginning. And all of your packs and all of your templates and all of your artwork in this example are all organized under one collection. So if I want to go to a marketplace and search for your collection, I don't have to know exactly the name of the pack or the art. I can search the collection, and I can see everything that's available on the marketplace for that.
I love that you brought that. Yeah, I love that you brought that up about being able to search it, because you're right. If you have a template and it has, 30 editions of what's under that template, it is so cool to be able to see that. And that brings up the idea about mint numbers. All NFTs on Wax have a mint number associated to it. Will you talk a little bit about what mint numbers are?
Yeah, so mint numbers, I mean, most people know what a mint number is. If you're going to make 100 things, you number them 1 through 100, and that 1 through 100 number is your mint. So low mints are often valued by collectors, is what my anecdotal evidence has been. If you have the very first something that came off a product line, some people will value that more. If you have the very last of something that came off a product line, some people will value that more. When we were doing MLB NFTs last year, one thing that I observed is people and collectors love to collect the mint number NFT that matched the player's jersey number. So mint numbers is just another way to just track what NFT it is. I don't think I'm not 100%. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on Ethereum, but I don't know if Ethereum mint numbers is new or how that works, because I'm not minted on Ethereum personally.
Yeah. Editions are how they do things, but the actual metadata is tracked completely differently than the way that it's tracked on Wax. So depending on what NFT that you have with the specific mint number, all the metadata of that specific NFT's mint number edition is tracked on the blockchain. So it's a little bit different for sure.
Yeah, and with the mint numbers too, some of these templates you write say that you only ever want to have 100 of this art in existence. You can cap the template at 100, and there will only be 100 left, ever. You can only make 100, and then that's it. You'll have to, if you wanted to make the same thing again, you'd have to make a new template. So now you have a slightly different information because it's got a different template number, even though everything else is the same. But when it comes to mints, it's very quick and easy to see how many of these you have. Like if you've got something and you've got mint number 48, and you can't find a mint number higher than that, you might have the last one. That's getting minted, or it just might mean that you got the most recent one on a unlimited mint, and there's going to be more in the future. So mint numbers are a way to help organize your NFTs, and some collectors will value them more than others. I personally don't really care about mint numbers as much. That's a personal thing. But I know plenty of people who are constantly searching for number ones, and will really go after number ones, and they own all the number ones, or they have all the single digit mints, or they have all the double digit mints, or they have all the mints that have 9s in them. So it's depending on how you want to collect, what you collect, and mint numbers gives you a way to keep track of that.
Yeah, the mint numbers are really cool too. I've seen a lot of people gather the number 42 a lot, or a number that they were in high school, 16. or 69, you know, just like the
Nine,
numbers that
baby.
people people relate to. But what I wanted to touch on is whenever you said that whenever you're minting something out and you might get like, you know, number 49 and it could be end, it could also be anywhere in the group in some drops.
Yep.
So on Wax, they have the
Yep.
ability to set up a drop where it's like, okay, I want to sell 100 editions of this piece that I'm creating or the sticker that I've created. And you can set up your drop page to the point where when people mint it, they get a random number out of that
Yep.
100. So it's really neat because just because you were the fastest to the drop doesn't always mean that you'll get the number one mint.
Yes, and that is something that we saw a lot in early collections. Is mint on demand is often rewarding whoever has the fastest connection, the fastest finger, or 1,000 bots at their command. When you do a pre-mint, it's much less likely that you're going to reward bots because the first 7 people that get it could get mints 99 through 103, and person number 45 who mints might get number 1. So it's having that, it helps discourage people who aren't there to really collect, people who aren't there to really be part of the community, or people who are just trying to speculate or take advantage maybe of what you're building, or just trying to turn a quick buck. That's, you know, everybody has their place and everybody has their hustle. I'm not just throwing shade on any of that, but not everyone who has a collection wants to reward the bots. You know, if you spend a lot of time in these communities, and let me just say now, like some of the communities here on Wax, and I've seen some of the Ethereum communities, the people here are way more chill. They're way less cutthroat than some of these other communities out there. The community ecosystem here overall, I believe, is just better. It's healthier. It's kinder. It's much more welcoming, I want to say.
I would absolutely agree. I'd say, and we'll probably see this towards the end of the space too when we invite people up to speak. But I bet most people in here, if you reach out to them right now and you're like, hey, I really want to get started making NFTs, I'm sure all of them would point you into the right direction and how to get started and maybe even hold your hand along the way. Like that's the kind of community that exists on the Wax blockchain because they want to see other people build really cool stuff. They want to build really cool stuff. They want to help support people who want to leave their legacy on the blockchain or use the blockchain. And that's what I like the most about the community on Wax. And I know we touched a little bit about like what tools are available whenever we're talking about drops.
Oh yeah.
But tools are a huge conversation topic right now in the blockchain space,
Yeah.
especially royalties.
Yeah.
So will you talk to us a little bit about what creator royalties are and how they exist on the Wax blockchain?
Yeah. So for a little bit of history, and I'm looking at Danish. Danish can keep me honest here. We talked earlier about when you list an NFT on a marketplace, it shows up in all the marketplaces, right? So one of the bonuses of using the Wax blockchain is we have an atomic asset standard. It's made, and this is from the folks who put together Atomic Hub, right? The pink team. They have an atomic asset standard and they have like a market contract. If you're building a marketplace and you're using the same market contract, which is available to anyone, that's the way that all of these things show up in all the marketplaces at the same time when you list on one to the other. So royalties with that market contract, they're baked into the contract. And as I understand it, it would require multiple parties to come together and agree through a decentralized vote to change royalties. So it's not something that can be turned on or turned off at a marketplace you decide to list at. You list your marketplace, the royalties are included. I believe that the cap or the max that you can add for a collection itself is, I want to say 15%, but I might be wrong on that. I'm not sure. I've not seen how high I can push it. Every NFT I've minted has been not for sale and just for jokes or memes. And I always just put a 1% because I have to put something in there. And it's really great because in my opinion, I don't know why, if you're an artist and you want to use the blockchain to distribute your work, and maybe you are a really badass artist, or maybe it was just your time and you got that spark of inspiration and you made something really, really cool. And you got 100 of them and then it blows up and it's like the Mona Lisa, right? Wouldn't you want to get something for that instead of having to wait till you're 100 years dead to get proper recognition as like a lot of artists or famous artists through history? I think that's important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I love having that baked into the contract, the market contract.
Absolutely. And I think this goes in a lot of different directions as far as like why it's important to be able to keep the royalties in the blockchain. And that goes with for artists for it being the first time that they're ever able to see royalties in their life. I think that's
Yeah,
incredibly valuable. But it also goes for game development teams. I mean, having a oncoming source of revenue such as like royalties lets them push further into their roadmap of what they want the game to be, or it doesn't define what they're able to create because it gives the team the steady support that they need to be able to spend their time on developing that game, or the artists collective, it gives them the ability to keep pushing forward into the way that they want to go. And I think that's incredibly valuable whenever you buy that piece of artwork or that skin. You're using it and you're buying it because it's valuable to you, and in the future it's really neat because if you want to relist that for whatever reason, you're also supporting the artist again whenever you
yeah,
relist it.
yeah. Yeah, and and that's not to say that I'm a fan and I think you should jack your royalty all the way up to the top, because don't forget, like, the marketplaces also are going to probably take a small percentage of any sale just to keep themselves afloat, as well. And on top of that, with that contract, 2% of all NFT sales on the Wax blockchain go into our DeFi pool, with a burn mechanic to burn off some of the WaxP tokens, and then it rewards people that are participating in our DeFi. So, I mean, I'm all, the more sales, the more it represents and rewards the community.
I love that you were able to wrap DeFi up that easily. It's so hard to explain usually.
Well, I only touched on the one piece of it, so yeah, I'm not going to take credit that it's going to explain fully, right? But yeah, so it's just a small portion of the sales. 2% are collected into a pool. We burn to 20% of that pool. So say there's 100 tokens, right? It's never been that low, but say there's 100 tokens. We would burn 20% of those, and then 40 would go to be distributed to the participants, and another 40 would go into a piggy bank, which can be accessed by burning a different token that you're also rewarded through certain circumstances. That's the really, really easy version of the DeFi.
Wow, yeah, I'm so glad that I'm interviewing you about this because my explanation would have taken so much longer. Thank you, Tommy. I'm so glad that I get to ask you these questions today.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Whenever we're talking about the tools again, we're going to go back to how we just mentioned the royalties. You can have a maximum up to 15%. They're not going anywhere on Wax.
Yeah.
As far as other creator tools, there's quite a few of them. And I want to pick your brain a little bit about packs. So I know that people are able to create packs on a couple of our marketplaces without needing to know any kind of dev knowledge. But will you explain kind of what a pack NFT does?
Okay, so I talked about this a little bit earlier. Maybe you want to sell packs of NFTs, right? So you want to sell. You have. Oh, let's see. I'm going to keep coming back to this example, right? You have a bunch of gun skins that you want to sell. You've made 100 new skins, but you want to sell them. But you don't want to give all of them away right away, right? And you don't want people to pick and choose exactly what they want, because then only certain skins are ever going to get bought, because people will see what's cool. And there's, like, everyone's subjective, but I think we can all objectively say that there's some badass skins and there's some not so badass skins out there. So what you can do with a pack is you could set up a pack, and they could buy a pack maybe for $20, and it contains $4 or $5 skins in it, but they're randomized. You don't get the same skins in every pack if you don't want to. You could have them be from different things. You get shotgun skins and rifle skins. One pack could be anything. It could be any mix of different types of skins you could get. And I use skins because that's when I first was trying to wrap my head around what NFTs were, like 4 or 5 years ago. This is how it was explained to me. It's like, all this money I'm spending on Dota 2 and Counter-Strike is all of that I'm buying could be an NFT. And I could really own it if I could move it out of Steam and use it or sell it somewhere else without somebody giving me a hard time, somebody being Steam. But yeah, so packs are very cool. Now, I don't know about for Ethereum, but when you open a pack, it calls the blockchain more than once. So I think those are each a transaction, which can really wreck you if you're paying for every single transaction on a blockchain.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's not a lot of pack NFTs on Ethereum just because you're right. You have to sign the the buying signature, then you have to also sign an opening signature and a collecting signature if you have a pack on Ethereum. So you're right. On the Wax blockchain, not only do you not have to pay like a gas fee, for example, every time you sign the transaction, but they also happen very, very, very quickly,
Yeah.
which you also don't usually see.
Yeah, we do have very fast transaction speeds. We are working towards migrating to the upgraded Antelope infrastructure, which should increase this as well, which will, I believe, I'm not exact, don't quote me on the exact specifications, right? I'm not a developer, but moving towards Antelope will allow us to have faster finality. So it'll be faster to when the transactions are verified and immutable and not changeable again later. Feel like a rollback or something like that.
Ooh, mutable. Yes, tell us what mutable attributes and NFTs do.
So this one I'm going to have to borrow example from one of the projects we're doing. So we have launched a project through the Toronto studios called Blockchain Brawlers. Maybe you've heard of it. I see Naughty Scotty down there. I see Average Casual Gamer down there too, both specialists from our Discord, Totten, you two. We have an NFT called the Brawliseum. So if you were to get a Brawliseum, it's a factory type minting NFT that allows you to make and mint NFTs for use in the Blockchain Brawlers game. Now, as you're minting NFTs, you're gaining experience points on your Brawliseum, and your Brawliseum can level up. And as it levels up, the ability of what it can create increases or changes as well. So the mutable attribute that you can see, like when you look at a Brawliseum, is it will show the level. And this is one way that you can use the mutable attribute. So it's the same NFT, it's the same asset. There's no asset switch, there's no burn and reissue or burn and new mint. It's the same NFT, but the data on it is able to change and morph into something else. So if you have, and I believe this is something that is new on Ethereum, but has been around on Wax forever. Right? Am I correct on that, Schnazzy? New.
I'm not really sure about where Ethereum is on the mutable attributes, but I know that Solana had recently just coined the term a smart NFT, and that's what it is a NFT with mutable attributes.
So it's an NFT that can change, grow, and evolve without actually losing or changing the true asset ID, and that can make it keep track of like the history of that NFT and where it's been and who's owned it and who's done what with it. Because it's the same asset ID. You can track that asset ID ownership all the way back, even as it's leveling up.
And it's really cool too because you don't even have to use it as like a leveling up feature. I've seen there's a creator. His name is Nick Tantaloon, and he created it's really just a dynamic NFT where it was a landscape that actually had the sun rising and setting depending on what time zone it was minted in whenever it was originally minted. So it actually is just like a moving sun and moon in the picture that matched the time, which was really cool. And it's the first time that I personally ever saw mutable attributes whenever I first came to Wax, I think back in, January, February time of this year. And I thought that was a really cool use case too, because a lot of people immediately like, oh, cool, I can make skill trees, I can make levels. Yep. But you also can just create dynamic NFTs in any way you could think of NFT changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like maybe that levels up. The color changes when you get to a certain point in the game that you're playing. It could go from green, yellow to red when you're almost dead and your characters are almost gone. You got to heal them up or something like that. So there's a lot of things that you could do, for sure.
Oh yes. Sorry, the idea that we had talked about. I can't remember who we were talking to forever ago about cards that would yellow every time they were traded wallets.
Oh, that was almost like a float. Or something like the float or the I think that's what it was called in Counter-Strike. It's been so long. It would just get damaged. You would have like different rarities based on like a certain percentage of how damaged it was, and if you hit like a certain break point, then that art would update. That would be really, really cool. I think that's really, really neat. I like that idea.
Yeah, see, there's so much.
Sorry, nerd.
No, that's the exciting part of this is that there's so much room for innovation here still, and so much has the potential to be done that we haven't even thought about or talked about either too, which I think is the most exciting part of this all. So we've talked about royalties, we've talked about mutability, we've talked about packs. Now tell us a little bit about blends and crafting.
Yeah, that was going to get you next because I mentioned with the mutability, maybe I went out of order a little bit, but there's no asset ID change. Oftentimes, like when you want to like change when an NFT looks, one way you could do it is write a contract where you burn NFT X and you get NFT Y every time. With the crafting and blending, you can write recipes to combine different things together to get a new NFT. So instead of just burning, you could maybe say, I don't know, maybe I'm going to make an airplane game. And I need to build a fuselage, I need wings, and I need guns. I need those three things. So I could buy a pack that has all of that, or I could buy each one individually on the blockchain on a marketplace. Then I go to this crafting blending site, throw all those NFTs together into the recipe that's set up, hit combine or blend or burn or construct or whatever word you want to use to put them together. And then I'll turn in those three and I'll get something new that has new abilities or maybe combined abilities from all of them, right? It's up to each creator to write exactly how they want their new NFTs to work in their game. But you can build stuff like that where maybe you can encourage, maybe too many people are using railguns in your space fighting game and you're sick of railguns and you hate the railgun meta. So you maybe you do a burn event or a crafting event where you combine a railgun with some other, I don't know, maybe like a sun, a star attribute, and you get a burning railgun or something like that, or maybe an ice asteroid or something. I don't know. Don't be stealing these ideas if anyone's trying to make a game. Please don't steal my ideas, or at least give me a free NFT when you're done building this. But you can do all sorts of different things. You can write recipes as simple or as complex as you want to make them. And some recipes I've seen are very complex, require all sorts of different variables that can craft into something new. Some of them are real obvious. It was maybe maybe you make a new NFT and it's got a typo. And some people want they want to fix the typo. Some people might not. You give them the option to turn in their broken NFT for, I say broken in quotes, but you turn in your like NFT that you made incorrectly and give them a brand spanking new one. So there's a lot of things you can do there.
I think it's so cool to see how people have used the crafting and blending mechanics, because one of the ones I always like to talk about because I think it's just so easy to explain is her name is Nudes, and she makes these recipe cards, and it's really cool because she's created art of the different things like ingredients that you would need to craft together to get the recipe card, and the final dish is what the art is for it, but it has the recipe of all the ingredients inside of it, and it's like you get to go shopping in her schema for all the ingredients to craft together and blend together to get the final recipe. And I think it's so cool. The style is absolutely stunning, but it's another cool way that I've seen people use the blending and crafting mechanic. I think next on our list of tools we have
Easy transfer. Easy transfers of NFT tokens. So there's a way that you can with some NFTs. I know I just butchered what I was supposed to say, but it's called backing. It's possible with NFTs, atomic acid NFTs to maybe you want to purchase something from someone, or maybe you want to do a trade, but the NFT you have is or you want to, let me see how is that best describe this. Okay. Say you want to sell something to someone, but you don't know them. And you don't want to list it on the marketplace because they might not have a private sale option. So how do you accomplish this? Someone would have to go first. Either you would have to send the NFT first, or someone would have to send you the tokens first, right? With a backed NFT, you can take WaxP tokens and kind of attach them to the NFT. And then you can trade that NFT with this other person for the NFT they have. Once that's done, the person with your backed token NFT can burn that NFT and release all the tokens within it. So no one has to go first. It's like if you're doing PayPal, you don't have to have someone send the money first and then you deliver their NFTs, right? Does that make sense? Have I explained it properly? You can put tokens in an NFT, and if you burn the NFT, you get the tokens back. You can use that for trading. Is how I would use it.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
a really good example. is the gift card idea, right? It's like
Oh
basically
yeah,
making an NFT gift
yeah.
card.
That's a much better example than what I just gibbered out of my mouth. Yeah, and a NFT gift card is perfect. You just give an NFT, it's like, hey, this is worth 10 wax P at viral.com marketplace, right? You get the NFT, you burn it, boom, 100 wax in your account. You didn't care about that NFT anyway. Like, you don't care about a gift card now. You're going to use it, put for the code, and throw it out. So there you go. Please do not ever back a very valuable or favorite NFT with tokens, because the only way to get the tokens back is to burn it. So be careful what you're doing. Measure twice, cut
Absolutely.
once.
Yes. Pro tips. Pro tips. And we're talking about backing NFTs with tokens, but you can also back NFTs with real life trading goods. So will you talk to us a little bit about the process of viral NFT?
Viral NFT, viral NFTs stands. It's a VIRL, stands for virtual in real life. So viral NFTs are NFTs where you do something with the NFT and something happens in reality, right? So one of the earliest examples of that would be carbon offset NFTs that I mentioned earlier. You burn the NFT, or in this case, because it's carbon offset, you compost the NFT, right? Same thing, different word. You compost, burn the NFT, and what happens in real life? A tree gets planted, right? Another very great way that this kind of will assist people, especially with the carbon offset stuff or just carbon footprint in general, um, is a good example of some people who like to collect shoes. Now, I don't collect shoes, but I know people who do, and I know that some shoes are very expensive. And then when it comes to the shoe collector heads, you want to. It's NFTs are great because you can easily keep track of like where the shoe is, where it came from, and all that stuff. Plus, if it's a viral, then that shoe actually exists somewhere, and when you turn in the NFT, you get the shoes. How does this help e-commerce and help reduce the carbon footprint? If I was someone who was selling shoes and that was my job and that's what my passion was, I would buy 1,000 shoes from Doge Fellas, right? And then maybe I have the creme de la creme, the diamond in the rough shoe, and Schnazzy. I'm going to sell it to Schnazzy, so I sell it to you, right? Now, in order for me to sell it to you in a normal forum, I'd have to ship you the shoe so you could actually receive the goods. With a viral NFT, the token, the non-fungible token is the token of ownership. So whomever owns that and then decides, you know what, I really want these shoes in my hands. I don't want to this isn't for me just to buy and sell. It's I've been looking for this shoe and I want it in my hands, in my collection right now. I want to wear it right now. You can redeem the NFT, and then that shoe from wherever central place it's located would be shipped right to your house. So I don't have to ship it to you and then you resell it and ship it to party B or party C, and then they're now going to resell it to the actual owner, because now we've shipped a shoe on a truck 3 or 4 times. What a viral can do is allow you to store your products in one place. People can speculate, sell them, trade them as ever they want, and when someone wants to redeem for the actual item itself, they do so. And then so you're only affecting you're only doing one truck delivery versus 4 or 5 or 6, depending on how many times the item changes hands. And so that's very useful. Hot Wheels recently, right? It was we did a Hot Wheels drop in July. If my dates are correct, I know coming up soon is going to be some of these Hot Wheels that we did in these packs were virals. So if you were lucky enough to pull one or you bought one, on the 7th, will be dropping redemption tokens. So that viral NFT is going to get your redemption token, which you can then trade, share, sell, keep, and use in order to get the actual Hot Wheel itself sent right to you. So there's a lot of different things you can do with a viral NFT. I think Goparel does viral NFTs as well. They do them very well. I think the way that they have it set up is pretty cool too. So check them out. And then it's the sky's the limit. Like, you do kind of like whatever you want with that.
Thank you, Tommy. I think that the viral NFTs is so cool, and I can't wait for more people to utilize them as time progresses and we're wanting to incorporate blockchain with more of our daily transactions for real goods and services, because that's what it was built for. And I want to talk about wallets a little bit because
Cool.
we've talked about everything about the Wax blockchain and what it can do, but it really starts off with a wallet. So I think for a lot of people, we've gotten a lot of new listeners come in. Some of I haven't seen before, and I think it's really cool to talk about how to get started with a wallet. So will you talk to us a little bit about what the wallet options are and what a wallet does?
And so I'm going to primarily will be focused on our cloud wallet because that's the one I use the most, and that's the one I'm most familiar with. But other wallets that exist on the chain, I know Wombat is pretty popular, and Anchor is another one that's extremely popular as well. Um, a wallet will store it'll be a place where you can kind of repository for your transactions. Your wallet will have an address. You can go on a blockchain explorer and type in your address, and you can see a history of what you've been doing on the blockchain. All your transfers, your funds that you purchased, your sales, all that kind of stuff will show up right there on the blockchain attached to your wallet. So you can kind of keep track of what you've been doing. The wallets on our chain also act as a way to store and view. I'll say the cloud wallet for certain because I can't do this in Anchor, and I don't know yet about Wombat, so I'll have to let better heads speak about that. But the cloud wallet, you can store your NFTs in it, you can view your NFTs in it, you can transfer NFTs, you can store tokens, non-fungible and fungible. So like if you're playing a game, you can store your game tokens in there from your blockchain games that you're playing on the blockchain as well. So it's a place where you can kind of hold all your stuff in one spot. Our wallet has a few other things in it as well. The user interface for the DeFi is in there, as well as the interface for our Ethereum Wax bridge and the NFT bridge that goes from us to Binance and Ethereum as well.
I love it. And especially with everything happening in the crypto world right now, where are safe places to go to purchase WaxP tokens?
What I would suggest is open up a cloud wallet. In the wallet itself is a button that says Buy WaxP, and we've set up different exchanges that you can purchase from, or different services that you can purchase from. I don't think every single one is an exchange. Barring that, you can reach out to us on Discord. In our Discord, in our welcome channel, we have a list of different marketplaces and different pairs where you could trade or purchase your tokens. I can't direct you to any specific one by name. You'll have to see which one, of course, is best for you. Some of them are available worldwide, some of them are not, as an example of which one would need to be best for you.
Thank you, Tommy. And another thing that's really, really, really important to note is never to ever share your wallet login information, whether that's like your email and password or your keys attached to the wallet. Will you tell us a brief rundown on how to avoid scams?
Okay, so brief thing on how to avoid scams. The number one thing you can do is, one, don't ever share your keys. You're going to get a private key for some of these wallets. Some of these wallets will not have a private key. They're custodial, and you'll have a username and password. Either way, don't share that. You don't share your bank password. You don't go to Joe Blow on the street and give him the logins to your fucking financial accounts. You don't do that. Don't do that here either. It's important that you keep your stuff safe because with blockchain, there is finality. If your private key is leaked or given to someone else, that person will always have access to your wallet, always. You'd have to make a new wallet with a new key in order to get them out of there. So please keep your private keys very protected. If your wallet comes with a seed phrase, which is usually 12 words, random words in an order, don't share that either. That's an emergency backup in case something happens with the key or you need to reconnect somewhere else. Don't share that stuff. Now, notwithstanding, another big thing that you'll see sometimes are it's a common phishing scam. Like I get these all the time from Bank of America and Citibank sent right to me in text message. Like, oh, hey, there's a problem with your account. Click here to log in and fix the problem. In our space, what we see is surprise mints or, oh, hold on, let me go find my charger. I'm about to run out of battery. Let me plug this thing in. Can you take over for me 1 second?
Okay, he's not rugging. He's still here. I know we talked about at the beginning of the space, every time he charges his phone, it disconnects him sometimes. So hopefully that doesn't happen here, especially as we're coming close to the end. Other things to avoid while you're shopping in the space is whenever people are giving away free NFTs. Oh, are you back, Tommy?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I was
But if
talking
you're
about
using,
the
yeah.
yeah, what you were saying was the random the drop and stuff.
Yeah, be careful with drops, right? People who are going to take advantage of you are going to do their best to try to trick you. Diligence is the number one defense against this kind of stuff. If you are expecting a drop to happen at a certain time and you get a DM suddenly that's happening somewhere else, a private DM that no one else can see, like confirm the information is correct before you jump and get excited and click and mint and lose everything you've got. Check the addresses when you click on links. Um, a one that I've seen that we've worked on taking down is someone will make a fake site and it'll look like Atomic Hub, but instead of an M, it'll have an R and an N. So it looks like an M, but it's not. It's a different website completely. And if you log into that site and it says, hey, it says log in, you're logging in thinking you're going to a normal site. This is just normal phishing. And you're giving away your username. You're giving away your password to anyone who is accessing. Right? And one other thing you can add as well is like with your wallets, most of them should have some type of maybe a 2FA, a two-factor authenticator system. Put that on your wallet too as a precaution. It's an added layer of security. It won't 100% save you from everything because if you're going to go into a phishing site and type in your username and password, and then if they ask you for the 2FA and you give it to them, they're still going to get into your account. But having the 2FA will help you in case maybe you weren't very password sanitized and you use the same email password as you did if you're logging for your wallet. So if your email is breached or is part of a leak, someone who could buy your login information. So it's important to use different passwords everywhere you can, check URLs, and don't trust, verify, or trust but verify, I should say. You can trust people in the space, but always make sure that you're verifying the information is correct because maybe they got hacked, right? I've seen this stuff happen on different discords, not ours luckily, but on this one, and mostly Ethereum discords. Like I see some projects like a project gets hacked or Discord gets hacked or an admin loses their phone and something happens. So keep yourself safe. Always just keep yourself safe and verify. That's what I would say. That's my best advice.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that you had said earlier about treating it like you would your bank card or your
Yeah.
banking information is so useful. Um, so yeah, if you're wanting, always look at whatever you're buying from. If you want to purchase something and it looks suspicious at all, think about it as, would I give my credit card number here? If not, don't sign the transaction with your wallet address. Um, Always verify, like Tommy said, very much do your due diligence. I know in the comments some people were talking about verified collections being leaving the space later, and that is super. It's awful when that happens, honestly. And the unfortunate part about it is the real finality of the blockchain and what happens whenever like collections leave. So whenever it comes to verifications, there's only so much people can do for the verification. I know that a lot of the marketplaces are revamping how they're doing their verification system,
Yeah.
and they're making sure that it gets a lot better, incorporating much more KYC, especially as more legislation comes out for what should be on the blockchain, what shouldn't be on the blockchain, as far as like asset classes and things of that nature go. So there's a huge revamping of how the verification works across the board, especially on the Wax blockchain. I'm sure across the board in other places as well. We see it on Twitter right now currently. And so it's so important to really do your research, and whenever you're buying NFTs, is keep in mind, what am I buying this for? Am I buying it because I like it? Am I buying it because I expect a return? And then think about kind of the risk factors that come with those reasons for why you're wanting to buy the NFT in the first place. And that's the biggest, most important way to really understand where you sit in the pool whenever you're wanting to invest your own money in places in general. And I think it's really important to have these types of conversations openly. And with that being said, at this time, I would love to invite people up who have general questions about how to really get started creating or collecting on the Wax blockchain, or really if you just want to come up and tell people about why you chose the Wax blockchain to build on in general. I think that would be really valuable, especially because most of our listeners listen in to the recording, and that's whenever a lot of people are able to tune in whenever they're new users. metaverse and they come and check out, they're like, oh, what's this Black Box blockchain? I see they have a space. I'm going to go hear it. So anybody who wants to kind of come tell their testimony about why they decided to start building their collection on Wax, feel free to come up. So while we're getting those speaking requests up, I also wanted to take the time to point out that DigiCon, you know, the space call we had a conversation about last week, is this weekend.
Yes.
It's the last DigiCon event of the year, and it's super exciting. It's going to be the 12th DigiCon, and if you're interested in seeing and engaging with creators on the Wax blockchain, really, we'd love for everyone to come check it out. It's a free metaverse convention that takes place this weekend starting on Friday, and it starts early in the morning on Friday, so the earlier you get in, the better. It has a whole schedule on their DigiCon 12 website, and you can actually just search DigiCon in Twitter, and it'll show up. All the DigiCon information will. I'll be there most of the weekend, hanging out, playing games with the community. It's always a lot of fun, and it feels like an actual convention, especially because you'll you'll have all your snacks and you'll need your energy drinks, and it's good stuff, and I really love it. So definitely come hang out with us this weekend.
Sorry, guys, I got disconnected there. I don't know what happened. For some reason, it just muted everyone, and I couldn't hear anyone speak anymore. But what's up, everybody? I don't know if there's any new people. What's up, Tommy? Long time in. What's going on? Schnazzy, I feel like I have to talk to you remotely like every day, whether it's in feeds or whatever. But what's up, everyone?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Kumas.
Always good to have you, Kuma.
What's going on? Yeah, I mean, I obviously could sit here and ramble on about my testimony and Wax and everything. Of course, you all know Kuma's on Wax. And Kuma has ETH stuff, but I no longer really do that. The Wax became my home, always probably will be my home. And by all means, I mean, I don't suggest anyone to shelve themselves and put themselves in a pocket. You know, I mean, if you have the chance to enhance your product and your brand by stretching out to other chains, then by all means do so. But I've just enjoyed the tools and the processes that come along with Wax. So I think that's honestly probably why I stuck. You know, I mean, we have so many, it's such a scalable system over here that I just think is a little bit more sustainable in the long term when you're talking about just dabbling in NFTs. I mean, especially for onboarding and new users that want to have that experience but don't necessarily need to go dumping, that don't need to go diving head in. You could at least get your feet wet enough to like, okay, like this is what these NFTs are that these kids keep talking about. So I think it's a good starting point, 100%. It's where I started. It's where I obviously am still at today. But and then as far as the DigiCon stuff, DigiCon, that's always dope. Excited to see what's going on there again. Kuma unfortunately will not have a booth at DigiCon this year. That's okay. That's on a good note. No one cry. It's because I'll be there on behalf of another booth. So that's exciting. Yeah. Kuma is now the official community manager of PixieGon. So let's go.
All right. Fuck yeah. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. We're going to have PixieGon on soon to talk about the widget NFTs. I think it's really cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. I know we're excited to have a booth at DigiCon and kind of get to show off everything that's been getting worked on. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's going to be a different vibe. It's obviously not your usual just like, hey, here's art, or hey, here's NFTs, or what. It's like, hey, here's a whole digital handheld that you can buy cartridges for. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's something different. So I think it's going to be fun to see how people take to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Different's always fun and good, in my opinion. When everything's the same, it's stifled a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's going to be cool. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me up here. I'm actually literally getting ready to pull out. Headed to work. I'm working night shift tonight, so Kuma's going to go install some computers and have some fun with keyboards and all that stuff.
Well, I think you'll be missed at the later space. Those of you who don't know, Kuma hosts a late night Wax Wednesday space with Brett Blackbird Comics, and that usually goes on in about 2.5 hours from now. So if you haven't gotten enough, if you haven't gotten your fill from Shazzy and I, head on over there, and they'll give you some more.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this the part where we put up like a warning label or something for anyone that wants to come over? No, it's not that bad. We have fun over there, but yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Much love to everyone. Tommy, Schnez, whole Wax fam down below. But I'm gonna get on the road here. Much love to everyone.
Drive safe, and yeah, no warning labels. Let everyone experience you unfiltered, as I did the first time. That's what I think is the best way.
That's the best way to get to know Kuma, bro. So you just know right off the gate, like, all right, this Kuma guy, man. Woo, I got to brace for him.
When you talk to Kuma, you know where you stand. I'll say that, right? All right. Hey, thank you, Kuma. Good luck today. I want to ask Doge next, because Doge sent me a message when I was talking earlier, and the message just says, Doge, are you ready? Ready to talk about escrow?
Okay. I'm here. Yeah.
What did you mean by escrow? What was I talking about? Viral?
No. You were talking about backing NFTs, and that's how I always describe using backed NFTs. It's basically a really easy escrow service when you're doing a trade, like you were explaining. When you're doing the trade on other platforms, you sometimes just have to kind of send your money off to someone and hope they send you stuff in return. The way that using backed NFTs and the trading feature that Atomic Hub has, I think they still have their trading feature, right? Allowed a really easy, like really user-friendly escrow service, basically, where you would use basically worthless NFT as an envelope, tuck your WaxP tokens or whatever tokens inside, and then send a trade offer, which is basically your escrow service. So it allows us as Wax users to have a really, really safe trading interface, as opposed to just sending your Ether, your Wax or whatever off into some address and hopefully you get something back. The downside was people were sending all sorts of crazy trade offers and some scams like that. So if you do use that, please do your diligence, like you said.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, trust and verify. Exactly. And when it comes to blends, we use those in our game in a couple of ways. One of them is our pack opening format, because we built our Genesis NFT character pool is 7,500 characters with 5 different rarities. But there's no more. They're not mint on demand because they have mutable attributes. So we had to build all of our pools, set them into rarities, and then you buy a pack, open your pack, and then you have to blend it into another openable pack to get the actual card. So the first pack determines the rarity you get, and then the second pack determines the actual card. And that was a complicated process using both the Atomic Assets APIs and the Nifty Blocks contracts to be able to do that. And actually, we've got a big update that is going to streamline some of that inside our client, which is really cool. But the blending is really, really a cool feature. And for us, the other big way that's used is basically just 3 cards of a rarity. You can blend them up to the next tier. So that's a super simple, super straightforward. Any character, any family, you can blend 3 of them to get from a common to an uncommon, or an uncommon to a rare. So those features for us that are all like super commonplace aren't anywhere else, which is really, really cool and really, really neat that we have access to those tools.
100%.
And yeah, right.
If you're trying to do that yourself, you'd have to pay a dev to write that specific function out for you, just for you. I don't know what that would cost. I'm not a dev.
Oh, it would cost you thousands of dollars. It would cost you thousands of dollars to pay a dev to do that. And we just get it. We get access to tools like Alcor, which is our fully functioning DEX, which is fantastic. Yeah. And Taco Swap now has their own DEX. And all of the marketplaces that we have are absolutely phenomenal to use. They have amazing teams behind them that are great contributors to our community. And we have people like you guys who take the time to invest in the community, hold spaces like this that teach new users how to get involved, all the information they need to know in a really short and fully digestible manner. So thank you guys very much for continually exhibiting leadership in the space and helping all of us grow and get onboarded. And my other thought was, if there are some new users down below, DigiCon is an absolutely phenomenal place to get involved, hang around, get to know some people, join the Wax fam, and ask some questions. There's going to be tons of people there that'll help you with anything that you need to ask. And basically anybody in any of the Discords, in any of the Wax communities, will help people. So
Yeah.
always feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doge. It really makes me feel good to hear you say that. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for the
yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, and to carry on what you said, like everybody in this community, or everyone that I've seen and even observed, people that I might not agree with all the time, like everyone's willing to help other people figure it out and give good advice, you know? And that's one thing that I've noticed is not the case in a lot of communities. So the community here is strong, and we're strong together, and is what I think. Thank you so much, Doge. Please drive safe while you're delivering. Nightwolf?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Tommy. Thank you for the opportunity. Coming as a collector,
Yeah.
I think like, it's just so, it's like when I got in as Street Fighter, and that what got me into the whole wax P, with the NFTs and everything. And I really think like the branding is like the community, the branding and everything. And not only that, right? Like the blockchain itself is so fast within transaction. I really like that. I've been on a lot of blockchain, and I'm a collector, like an avid collector. I love NFTs, and this is what I've been doing to stay away from smoking cigarettes. So it definitely, just the community, majority of these people here, the artists, I've done collaboration with, I've talked with them, I've built relationship with them, and also go to DigiCon, talk to them, video chat with them, and I really feel the sense of community here, and we are very protective with we're meaning that we filter out scams, because there's a lot of scams on here. Not only that, we always let each other know we're very tight and very tight knit community, and that's the thing I love about this community. And I've learned so much. I've been so inspired by so many of these artists, and and I do a lot of giveaways all the time, and I'm so very fortunate and just to meet all these people all around the world.
Yeah, I think one of the things that our community does really well is like when something smells fishy, everybody circles their wagons, reaches out to each other and lets everybody know like something's going on, and that's like I don't think I would trade that for anything at any point, because I think having a strong community of people who actually give a shit about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build and like the direction you're going is the way to success. You can say whatever you want, and we've all learned that words don't mean shit this past week. It's actions that are going to follow through. And I think what we try to do here is, like, I know Doge Fellow said that we're like leading, but I think we're all kind of leading together, in my opinion. I think we're all doing our own part on this chain to try to drive it to the next level. So I'm always thrilled to see what so many people in the community come together with, or when they have there's a new project I've never even thought of. It's exciting. Because I think Kuma said earlier, it's something different. It's not more of the same stuff. And I think on some of the stuff you see sometimes on Ethereum, it's a little bit more of the same. And that's why I kind of like Wax. Thank you, Nightwolf.
Yes, thank you, Nightwolf. This is the first time I've ever heard your voice.
Yes.
So it's so exciting to have you up on our space for the first time. I see you on Twitter all the time, and I absolutely love the giveaways that you host for the collectors and the creators, because it really shows a lot of those art collections, really a whole new audience. And I think it's really cool that you host that. So very grateful for what you do. I know there's a couple of other people that like to do the same thing, where they kind of garner up attention for independent artists and independent games. And I think it's so important, and it adds to the community factor. Because like Tommy says, really, like, we got our flowers. Thank you so much
Yeah.
earlier. But I mean, we all were community members. You know what I mean? Is I came from the community before I was able to get a job at Wax. Is we are all moving this space together. Wax is just the vehicle, right? And
Yeah.
everybody else are the people who are doing the upgrades. They're like, oh, we should do a different body. Here we go. We're gonna make this different use case. Here's like all these different ways that we can use the same things that we already have to go faster, you know? And it's just, we would not have this type of ecosystem without this type of drive and passion in our community, whether that's the developers creating really cool use cases, whether it's the games creating really niche concepts about how to further development the space of games in general and really have the
Mhm.
ownership, or whether it's just indie creators and artists who are really just trying to do what they absolutely love the most and have an audience that's ready to hear them and create an opportunity for themselves to make something really awesome and leave their legacy. You know, there's so many different use cases here, and I love that we're able to share it all together. And it's moments like these that we really get to see is like, this is really something special that we have here. And it's really incredible that we all get to be in this space at the same time and move forward, because who knows what the next 5 years are going to be like. But I really feel like a lot of us, if we're in this space right now, we're going to be more than likely in the same space in 5 years. We're just going to have a lot of other people around us. And I think it's going
Yeah.
to be really fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
completely.
and I think
I'm
this
not.
is a
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
exactly. I'm not either. I've got too much intrigue and too much I want to do. And I think all of us feel that way. And I think this is a good note to wrap up the space on. Does anybody else want to say anything before I close this down?
I do. I wanted to say that if you're interested in setting up a cloud wallet, we do require a. You can go to Wax. You can go to wallet.wax.io, and you can sign up with your email or a social. We do require a 5 WaxP deposit to fund the account. If you later tonight or tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning, to be honest, my carriage about to turn into a pumpkin here. If you reach out to me in Twitter and you want to get a bypass code for that, we can help you bypass that. If you reach out to us, if you're in the space now and you hear me say this, reach out to us tomorrow. Go ahead and reach out to me in Twitter DM, and I'll shoot you a code so you can bypass that. It makes it easier. And you can come check it out. Just see what's on there. Check out the Dogefellow game. You know, maybe listen to a Kuma and Brett's spot later. Maybe get a Brett Blackbird comic. Danish is campaigning to be a syndicate leader, I believe, on Alien Worlds, very popular game. So there's a lot going on. You can check out Goparel's NFTs. There's so much you can do, and if you want to get in and you want to check it out, reach out to me and on Twitter DM. Don't get mad if I don't respond to you tonight. I will respond to Twitter tomorrow. I'll make a reminder right now to do it, to go check. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I'm excited to see new people in the space. I'm excited that a lot of people with the hubbub from OpenSea and royalties kind of made a lot of people interested in coming over here. And I'm excited to welcome anyone who's interested to learn, anyone who wants to build, and anyone who thinks Web3 is cool or just has game NFTs that they want to actually own and sell and not just have Steam take them from you like they did to me. So that's all I want to say. I'm happy to be part of the community here, and I'm happy to be able to host these.
I'm happy too. I'm really glad that we're able to be in this together. And one thing I wanted to point out too is that Drawn Company and Broken Dolls this past week, they were at Comic-Con Birmingham and they did a fantastic job. They onboarded so many new people. They were able to give away collection NFTs. And they were able to give away actual cards that people were able to take home and collect too. And I think that was really awesome. And anybody can do this, and that's what I think is really cool, is that if you have the drive and you want to go talk in a place like Comic-Con, we'll vouch for you. We will help do whatever we can to get you the information that you need to get to be able to go over there. And I think it's really fun. They brought in so many new users, and I think that's going to be a lot of who hears this later on, especially because I have a couple people I know I'm going to DM this to later that they sent my way to help onboard, to give them an onboarding package. So it's really fun. There's a lot of things going on. Again, this weekend is DigiCon. Just search DigiCon on Google. You can search it on Twitter. They'll all point you in the same direction to the DigiCon website. It's hosted by Splinterlands. It's free. And you can pick up a lot of really cool NFTs like you would at a normal convention just by visiting booths. It's so awesome. One thing that Tommy was mentioning earlier was Black Blackberg and Crypto Kuma Space, and they do a fantastic job about going over all of the daily drops that happened today in celebration of they named it first Wax Wednesday, and they created a hashtag for it on Twitter. So if you want to go see what other people have created on the blockchain, it's a really cool way to find those creators' content or what they've worked on, and it's the hashtag Wax Wednesday. There's also Wax NFT that's been trending the past couple of weeks, which is really exciting. And then also the hashtag WaxFam is used a lot too. So you'll be able to use these different types of hashtags to really see what's being built in this space, and it's really amazing. And I want to take the time to also thank everybody for showing up here today and joining us tonight. It's been so awesome to see some of these people in here are new. I've never seen them before, so it's really cool to see new users joining our Wax fam. And
Baron, Baron Coconut wanted to say something too before we shut it down, Nazi.
Oh yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I've Wax for like a year now. It's been a pretty unfortunate year. There's been a lot of rug pulls and stuff. I just have a question about, is there any information you can give us to reassure that Quigley isn't going to cause this token to fall like USDT? Like there's no laundering or anything going on inside of here or anything like that?
I'm not up to date on William Quigley's things. To be honest with you, he doesn't report to me. I don't know anything about how we're being affected by any of the stuff that's been going on. So I don't really know what answer you want me to give you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, on that note, one of the things that I think is really important to see right now is that there is a lot of panic in the space right now. And your concerns are absolutely justified. But at the same time, I think you can also really see what happens on the blockchain as easy as we can. So we're constantly talking about transparency on the blockchain. It's really highlighted. You're able to see everything that's happening. It's super unfortunate about all of the things that are happening to people who are losing money whenever they expected people. I'm not going to name any names, but we all know who those names were. To see them completely disgrace their entire user base system. And the Wax blockchain does not ever want to be or do anything like that. And we have very headstrong party members inside of our space that want to ensure everything that we do is up to date, make sure everything is under complete legalities, want to make sure everything is set in line, completely transparent, and we pride ourselves on that. And
this isn't it's not one person has an on and off switch, right? This isn't a blockchain that's been going down and having downtime, right? We've been at uptime. And I don't like to say it's like always been up because I feel like I'm tempting fate, but it has been up and it has not had downtime. There has not been times where you try to send a transaction, it's like, oh, sorry, blockchain doesn't work right now, come back tomorrow, we'll turn it back on later. That doesn't happen here. We have uptime, we have finality, we're decentralized. No one's going to click a button to turn it down or make the price go to whatever the price is going to be, right?
Exactly. And I think that one of the big important things about to take away from all of this is how our block producers work. And I know that Tommy had described how that system works a little bit earlier. And if there's anything I can say to give a peace of mind is that we're still here holding conversations and still willing to address these types of conversations as well. So with that being said, we really did go over time. I know this was kind of a hard thing to end on. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Tommy, before we actually wrap this up? Because I know that was a very important question to ask.
Yeah, trust but verify. That's the best thing. Check your web's links before you click stuff. Just don't randomly click stuff. Nightwolf?
Can I do a quick shill real quick?
It's up to Snazzy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a quick show, that's fine.
Okay, quick shield. Digicon on the 18th. I got a collaboration with Setino Ramos. It's 2 wax a piece, and the max supply is 2,222. Come support your boy.
I love that. I love what Skatecoin's doing too. I think it's really fun. Okay, all right, you guys. Well, on that note, we are really out here doing it together, you guys. We're what's trajectorying our futures and destinies together. Everything that we're doing is reflecting on one another in the blockchain. We're all tied together, and we're here creating the future of Web3 and pioneering this path out together. And it's so important to have the conversations that we've had today. And honestly, we wouldn't be able to have them if it weren't for you all willing to come up and talk about these things and for us to be here as well. But really, it comes down to the questions you all have and how we're able to facilitate the conversation. So with that being said, I'm really grateful for you all to be here today, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night. Don't forget to check out that Brett Blackberg and Crypto Kuma space. It's a lot of fun. You heard Kuma's warning. Tommy says there shouldn't be a warning. I love the space. It's definitely a different vibe and a different energy, but it's really fun. And I hope that we see everybody this weekend at DigiCon and next week. So we'll see you in those GMs, and you all have a fantastic Wax Wednesday.
Much love, Waxman. Catch you later.
Thank you, Doge. Much love. Thank you, Nightwolf. See you.